तुम्हारा चरणे अहैतुकी भक्ति हृदय जागे अनुक्षाणे निज कर्म गुणा दोषे ये जे जन्म पाया जन्मे जन्मे जेनो तवा नाम गुण गाया ये मात्र आशा मम तुम्हारा चरणे अहैतुकी भक्ति हृदय जागे अनुक्षाणे विषय जे प्रीति ये बे आचाये हमारा ते मात्र प्रीति होका चरणे तुम्हारा विपदे संपदे तः सकुका संभावे दिने दिने वृद्धि होका ना मेरा प्रभावे पशु पक्षी होए ताकि स्वर्गे वा निरोए तव भक्ति रहु भक्ति विनोद हृदय हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय जय प्रभुपादा प्रभुपाद 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 श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। Can someone read the translation?
My Lord, I submit the following prayers at your holy feet. I do not pray to you for physical leisure, for learning, wealth, or followers. I do not pray for heaven or salvation. I do not pray for any of these opulences. In whatever birth I take, wherever my karma leads me, let me sing the glories of your holy name birth after birth. This alone is my cherished hope, my aspiration, my prayer at your lotus feet. Let pauseless and uninterrupted devotion awaken within my heart and flows towards you. Let me love your lotus feet as much as I now love sense gratification. Transfer my affection from the object of the senses to your lotus feet. In danger or success, good fortune or disaster, let me remain in equipoise, and let my affection for you increase day by day by the influence of the holy names. Whether I live as bird or beast, in heaven or in hell, let the humble Bhakti Vinod always cherish Bhakti in his hearts of hearts.
Yeah. So we sang this song because as Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioning here, nahi magi swarga ar moksha nahi magi nakori prarthana kono vibhuti ralagi. So this verse says swarga because the goal of karma is swarga, the goal of jnana is moksha, and generally the goal of yoga, many of them they aspire for vibhutis, ashta-vibhutis, 8 prakars of Prabhupada many times mentions in his lectures, 8 kind of mystic potencies, mystic powers. So vibhuti. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that what he is not aspiring for, Dehasukha, Vidya, Dhan, nor Swarga, nor Moksha, nor Vibhuti, Karma, Jnana and Yoga. What he is asking only for ahituki bhakti, nuteja jnanaksham. So that's the nature of a devotee. Is always aspiring for a pure devotional service. Okay, we'll continue our topic on second chapter. Sorry, second canto, first chapter, text 19. We offer our prayers and we'll start. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroh Shri Yutapadagamadam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijanasahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaganalalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So welcome to all for this our Bhagavatam study. So we are in second canto, first chapter. We have seen. Okay, let us read the summary of last two sections. Then we'll go ahead. Yeah, can someone read?
Verses 14 to 21. Shukadev Goswami recommends detachment from material life and fear of death. One should leave home and practice self-control in a sacred place, bathing regularly. Sitting alone, one should chant the Pranav mantra, Omkar, and the mind will become progressively spiritualized. Therefore, one can progress to meditate on the form of Vishnu and come to the level of devotional service. Verses 22 to 39. In answer to Maharaj Parikshit's inquiry regarding how and where to fix the mind so that it can become purified of dirty things, Shukadev Goswami describes meditation on the gross universal form of the Lord, because there is nothing more than this in the material world. One who does not concentrate his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead will be misled and will cause his own degradation.
Okay, thank you. So here, yesterday we have seen till 18 verses. So basically here, Yoga Mishra, Bhakti Mishra Yoga, Yoga Ashtanga Yoga is being described by Sukadeva Goswami to counter or to compare with Bhakti Yoga to establish Bhakti as the highest path, highest method in the assembly of the sages. He is speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. At the same time, he is also considering the opinions of others who are sitting in the assembly. So he is trying to mention about yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and then he will establish in the first three chapters the position of Bhakti Yoga. So he is now we are continuing the Ashtanga Yoga practice, how the yogi supposed to go to forest by detaching himself from all the material desires, and he has to sit same as chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, how it explains there that one should go to forest, keep a clean place, suchaudeshe, pratisthapya, stiram asanam. Asanam has to be steady, not too high, not too low. You have to keep a deer skin and then a soft cloth. These are all requirements of the yoga. So yeah, once he does that, all these things, then he has to start his meditation by following the 8 limbs: yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. These 8 limbs. Yama, niyama, asana, yama, niyama, do's and don'ts. Apart from his meditation, what he is supposed to follow. Those are yama and niyamas. They have many five things in yama and niyama also. I don't remember exactly now, but they have 5 limbs even in yama and niyama. There are 10 limbs are there: asteya, cleanliness, socha. So all these things are involved in yama and niyama, do's and don'ts. And then asana, one has to sit in a proper posture. Then pranayam, we have seen pranayam. You have to remember Om, doing with pranayam, by breathing process, so that to study the mind. And then pratyahar, once he starts doing pranayam, focusing the mind, then he should not give in to any further inputs from any other senses, sense objects. So from sense objects. So then it's called pratyahar, is withdrawing the mind from sense activities. Then comes dharana. Dharana means dharana, dhyana, samadhi are considered like a core for the Ashtanga Yoga. Till Pratyahar, it's external activities. So there's more of internal activity now, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. Almost same, focusing the mind on a particular spiritual object has supposed to be. Dharana means, it is said that a Dharana is supposed to be, if you can keep the mind for 12 seconds on one object, on a spiritual object, that is called Dharana. Dhyana is 12 into 12 seconds. And Samadhi is almost like 12 into 12 into 12 seconds, almost comes to 24 minutes. So generally that is considered like a dharana, dhyana and samadhi, increasing the amount of time. That is, one is focusing on particular object. What is that object of dharana or dhyana or samadhi? Now is Sukadeva Goswami will mention. Of course, he is mentioned in the last part also, and this verse exclusively mentioned that object has to be Supreme Lord. He has to start with Omkara, but he has to come to dhyana of Supreme Personality of Lord Vishnu. That is his actual meditation. Even Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita. So once you control your mind and senses, then one should focus on me. He says in chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. So generally, meditations we see in our current scenario, modern scenario, that they say that you can meditate on anything. So initially, before coming to Krishna Consciousness, I was connected to some yoga system, yoga, Siddhi Samadhi Yoga. One sanstha is there, one institute. So I just started doing some kind of, as you know, pranayam, pratyahar, whatever, practice in the morning, 15-20 minutes, and evening 20 minutes. So one friend asked me, so what do you meditate on? I said, we are told that we can keep some neutral object as an object of meditation. You can see something on a wall. We keep some circle or some object, neutral object. So when I mentioned that we meditate on particular object, then he said, then my friend said, asked, can we meditate on any cine actress or whatever, cinema actor or actress? then I was put into thought. I was not knowing anything because I just started practicing. I said, I think it should not be. I said, because I don't know exactly what to meditate on. I could not answer his question. So that's so generally people think that you can meditate on anything. But I could not answer him that time because I was not aware what exactly the object of meditation. But here Prabhupada clearly mentions the object of meditation has to purify the mind. It should not contaminate or putrefy the mind more and more. So that cannot be object. You cannot choose on your own the object of meditation. That will not purify. Definitely it can pacify the mind by having a neutral object. People say candle or something or some corner of the room or so many other objects, pyramids and all. It can pacify the mind rather than putrefying the mind or contaminate the mind, but it cannot purify the mind. Mind will only be purified by meditating on spiritual objects, especially the form of the Lord, especially the Omkara and the form of Vishnu. Form of Vishnu is considered more greater than the meditation on Omkara also. That's what Prabhupada will establish, will explain now. So this is the theme, what Sukadeva Goswami is trying to indicate, that Ashtanga yogis has to meditate, come to the point of meditating on Lord Vishnu. So we are in almost dhyana and samadhi stage. Okay, we are today we have some. We are going to end by 4 o'clock because devotees like to attend the program in the evening on Her Grace Satyavati Mataji's memorial program. So we will skip the verses reading. Maybe we can read the translations, and then we try to complete the chapter today. Okay, you can read the translation, bro.
Thereafter, you should meditate upon the limbs of Vishnu one after another without being deviated from the conception of the complete body. Thus, the mind becomes free from all sense objects. There should be no other thing to be thought upon, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is the ultimate truth. The mind becomes completely reconciled in Him only.
Yeah. So mind has to be completely free from all sense objects. That is pratyahara, and then we have to focus on dhyana, dharana and dhyana. Dharana is a small amount of time. Dhyana is more specific and particular limb. So that's why it's mentioned to meditate on the limbs of Vishnu. It's not complete form. Dhyana is more focused on particular limbs of the Lord. And samadhi is more absorption. The same thing. Yeah, can you read this one? Highlighted, underline one.
The meditation may be begun from the lotus feet of the Lord. One should not, however, forget or be misled from the complete form of the Lord. Thus, one should practice thinking of the different parts of his transcendental body, one after another. Here in these verses, it is definitely assured that the Supreme Lord is not impersonal. He is a person, but his body is different from the bodies of conditioned persons like us. Otherwise, meditation beginning from the pranava, Omkar, up to the limbs of the personal body of Vishnu would not have been recommended by Shukadeva Goswami for the attainment of complete spiritual perfection.
Yeah. So meditation has to begin from pranava in the pranayam stage and come to the stage of meditating on the limbs, dhyana and samadhi, complete absorption. So on the Supreme Lord. That is the main understanding of Ashtanga Yoga. Not any other objects has to be meditated on. Okay, yeah, please read.
The common man can benefit more by meditating on the form of Vishnu in the temple than on the Omkar, the spiritual combination of AUM, as explained before. There is no difference between Omkar and the forms of Vishnu, but persons unacquainted with the science of the absolute truth try to create dissension by differentiating between them. Here it is indicated that the Vishnu form is the ultimate goal of meditation, and as such, it is better to concentrate upon the forms of Vishnu than on impersonal Omkar. The latter process is also more difficult than the former.
Yeah. The later process is more difficult than formal. Later means the impersonal Omkara becomes a bit difficult. Definitely, Prabhupada recommends even Gita also. One can chant Omkara because it is the representation of. There is no difference between Omkara and forms of Vishnu, as Prabhupada mentions. But as it's a more of an impersonal approach to the Lord. So definitely it's a spiritual. Omkara is a pranava, is a spiritual subject object. It's a spiritual subject matter, Omkara also. But still it's more recommended to personal form of the Lord meditation. If you come across anyone who is chanting the Om, definitely we can recommend to continue, but he can continue also on the Mahamantra. If he is not willing to give up chanting of the Omkara in our preaching or in our whoever, it's very rare, but it's not a unbona fide process. It's a bona fide mantra, Omkara. Text 20. Please read.
One's mind is always agitated by the passionate mode of material nature and bewildered by the ignorant mode of nature. But one can rectify such conception by the relation of Vishnu and thus become purified by cleansing the dirty things created by them.
Become pacified by cleansing. Yeah. Of course, pacification and purification are almost together, but it's hesitation. No, one can answer that one is sitting in the forest because Yogi went to the forest. How the modes are hesitating because forest is considered mode of goodness, right? Prabhupada mentions many times that the places of liquor, drinking, and brothels is like a mode of ignorance. City is in the mode of passion. Forest is in the mode of goodness, and the temple is in the mode of transcendence, beyond the modes. Temple. So forest, he is sitting in the forest, but still he is agitated. One may be agitated by passionate desires or bewildered by ignorant nature. This is because there is internal contamination in the mind. So though he is sitting in the forest, mode of goodness, but still, because it's not just about physical location, it's about disposition of the mind, where the mind is. So because we not only have the conscious mind, we have subconscious mind, we have so much of our upbringing in this life, and from millions of lives we have so much in the background. So that will start coming up as we keep on cleaning the mind. It's compared to a lake. Lake, when it's steady, we may not see on the top, when we don't see any kind of mud or dirty water on the top. But if we throw a stone in the lake, whatever mud is there in the bottom, it will come up. So that's how it's considered that meditation, at least impersonal meditation, calms the mind, pacifies the mind. But meditation on Lord Vishnu, meditation on Omkara purifies the mind completely of the dirt inside. So that's what in these two verses it says that by dharana, meditation on Vishnu, meditation on the form of Vishnu, which cleans the mind. So modes will be agitating us because modes means external modes, passion and ignorance, that will affect the mind. These are subtle forces. The passion, ignorance, and goodness are more like subtle. We can't see these forces, but still they affect our subtle body. Right? We can't see externally why one is acting like that. One is very passionately working, or he's desiring so many material objects, working hard, or one is maybe bewildered by many other things, mode of ignorant things, doesn't know what is life, what to do with life, or maybe even trying to spoil his life, spoil others' life. So these are all subtle forces. Though we are all living in the same kind of atmosphere, apparently, but we are all different. Right? Everyone is different because the subtle forces affect subtle this on the subtle body, and because of the past, whatever we have been born and brought up here in this life, and whatever we are bringing, so we are all affected by at different levels. So for that, we need to cleanse the mind. We need to focus on spiritual object. That is the main point. Dharana cleanses the dirty things. So such conceptions by relation of Vishnu and thus become pacified or purified by cleansing the things created by them. Yeah, that is the main point. What to meditate on, he will say now. So yeah, please read the highlight about this one.
Effect of the modes of passion and ignorance are manifested by too much hankering after wealth and woman, and those who are too much after wealth and woman can rectify their leaning only by constant remembrance of Vishnu in his material potency, his impersonal feature.
Yeah. So rectify the leanings only by constant remembrance of Vishnu. How? On his material potency, his impersonal feature. What is material potency? This is Virat Rupa. That will come up now. That's what Prabhupada is mentioning here. In his material potency means the gross form is Virat Rupa. He has to meditate on that one. Because the conditioned neophyte yogi, see here main two things we'll mention. This chapter, Dharana Ashraya, the object of meditation has to be Virat Rupa for a neophyte yogi. Neophyte yogi in the sense that he has contamination in the heart. So he has to clean the heart by meditating on the Virat Purusha, on the gross form of the universe. That is also is considered like a limbs of Vishnu. He will conceive all the different gross forms of this universe as the parts of the limbs, parts of the Vishnu form that we will see in the next coming verses. But he has to do that. That is the main understanding in the coming verses. So in this chapter, the neophyte yogi has to meditate on Virat Purusha as a Dharana Ashraya, object of meditation. And one who is advanced, who purified in his heart, he has to come to the level of meditating on the form of Vishnu within the heart, the spiritual form within his heart, Paramatma. So this is the main understanding. It will come in second chapter. And we have a next chapter, the advanced yogi. Okay. Yeah, we can read this para also. These two paras, highlighted ones.
Blue highlighted, Prabhuji.
Yeah, yellow and green. Yellow, blue.
Yellow and green. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that after many hundreds of births, the impersonal philosopher surrender unto the personality of Godhead. To acquire such a qualification of God realization in the personal feature, the neophyte impersonalist is given a chance to realize the relation of the Lord in everything by the philosophy of pantheism.
Yeah.
Pantheism in its higher status that does not permit the student to form an impersonal conception of the absolute truth, but it extends the conception of the absolute truth into the field of the so-called material energy. Everything created by the material energy can be dovetailed with the absolute by the attitude of service, which is the essential part of the living energy. The pure devotee of the Lord knows the art of converting everything into its spiritual existence by this service attitude. And only in that devotional way can the theory of pantheism be perfected.
Yeah. So here one concept called pantheism, you might have heard, but Prabhupada explains this concept. Pantheism means everything, universe is God. The doctrine or belief, this is dictionary definition, believe that God is the universe. Like what we are seeing, like hills, like oceans and this and that, they consider this is God. Tigers and whatever is big thing, huge things. They see them, they worship big banyan trees. In their concept, everything is God, so we can worship the universe itself as God. That is called pantheism. The doctrine that regards the universe as a manifestation of God, it's a more higher understanding. Though it's definitely a dictionary definition, but this is the general understanding. This is the higher understanding. According to Prabhupada also, he will say, one who is seeing this universe as a manifestation of God is the right understanding. That's what here, when he says that everything is created by the material energy, can be dovetailed with absolute by an attitude of service. So this is what Prabhupada is mentioning, that it is all manifestations of Krishna, all the universe, all the parts of all the manifestations of material nature can be dovetailed with absolute by a service attitude. We can engage everything in Krishna service. So then that will come to the higher understanding, that a higher status. That's what Prabhupada mentioning. Pantheism in its higher status doesn't permit the student to form an impersonal conception. Because because the understanding that the universe is God, it's not the complete understanding. It is a manifestation of God. It's energy of God, energy of Krishna, material energy. So meditating on that, how to meditate is the neophyte impersonalist has to understand. He cannot just think it is God, but it's a manifestation of God. Then he will be more and more purified. But at least he has to start with that universe as a manifestation of God. That's what Prabhupada is mentioning in this para, that impersonalist, neophyte impersonalist is given a chance to realize the relation of the Lord in everything by the philosophy of pantheism. Yeah. So by that, because he is unable to, why neophyte has to restrict himself to the only the gross form of the universe, because contamination is there in the heart, and it is not allowing him to focus on the pure spiritual form of the Lord. So that's why he has to see the universe as a manifestation of God, and meditating on them, he will be more and more purified. That will be purification happens only when he sees that it is in connection with Krishna or Lord Vishnu. But he disconnects Krishna or Vishnu, then purification will not happen. That's the main point here, Prabhupada mentioned. Okay. Okay, next. Translation, please read.
Success of mystic performance.
No, translation. Translation.
O King, by this system of remembrance and by being fixed in the habit of seeing the all good personal conception of the Lord, one can very soon attain devotional service to the Lord under his direct shelter.
Read the highlighted portion.
Success of mystic performance is achieved only by the help of devotional attitude. Pantheism, or the system of feeling the presence of the Almighty everywhere, is a sort of training of the mind to become accustomed to the devotional conception. And it is this devotional attitude of the mystic that makes possible the successful termination of such mystic attempts.
Yeah, this also.
The devotional atmosphere created by pantheistic vision develops into devotional service in later days, and that is the only benefit for the impersonalist.
Yeah. So here this 20 and 21st verses both say about dharana, how by having dharana on the either Virat Rupa in connection with the Krishna or Vishnu purifies the mind. So that is the main thing. But he has to mix with bhakti. The yoga has to be mixed with bhakti, in the sense the devotional feelings, bhakti mixed to yoga. So that sort of meditation helps him to purify his mind. So this is about dharana, how he has to keep the object Virat Purusha or Vairajya Purusha. There are various terms, Virat Purusha, Vairajya, Dharana. These are all same thing. This is a gross universe form. That means, so he has to meditate on that form. What is that form? We will see in the later verses. So now, till now, Sukadeva Goswami is saying that all this by this Ashtanga Yoga, he has to come to the meditation on Vishnu. So now, Parikshit Maharaj asking a question regarding that. What is the object of meditation? Yeah, please read the translation.
Hare Krishna.
Brahmana, please describe in full detail how and where the mind has to be applied and how the conception can be fixed so that the dirty things in a person's mind can be removed.
So here Parikshit Maharaj asking question just to inquire to know more about Bhakti Mishra Yoga. Thereby to compare with the process of Bhakti, glory of Bhakti. Not that he has a inclination to do Ashtanga Yoga. That's what the understanding. So he's asking how to accomplish the dharana. That is the first question, how dharana is accomplished, how it has to be achieved. When can it be achieved? Basically, when it get achieved. That will be answered in next verse, 23rd. And then where the mind has to be applied. So what is the dharana acharya? He will say, first it has to be neophyte yogi, that Virat Purusha. That is the that's where he has to apply the mind. That will be mentioned here in 24 and 25. And it has to be dharana acharya. The mind has to be applied on Paramatma, an advanced yogi. It will come in next chapter. So that's what the question asks. These three questions he asks, and the answers will come. And how to quickly remove the contamination of the mind, that also is asking. So that the dirty things person can be removed. Yeah, that will happen as he keeps on focusing on training himself to focus on the dharana object, the meditation object. Yeah. So the dirty things in the heart of the conditioned soul are the root cause of all troubles for him, for everyone, not only for yogi. For everyone, the dirty things in the heart, the contamination of the heart, mainly the 6 enemies: lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, and envy are the main dirty things. Of course, from these 6, many other also form. So we need to be, of course, we are all definitely, but yeah, everyone, a spiritual aspirant has to clean the mind. Cheto Darpanam Ajanam. For us, it's a Shavanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. It's a simple process. So for Sangha Yogi, he has to meditate on the Virat Rupa till the moment till the time the mind is purified. After that, he has to meditate on Paramatma. Yeah. He's actually meant to serve the will of the Supreme Lord, but on the account of dirty things in the heart, he likes to serve his concocted desires. Prabhupada explains more and more about general application, what a person does. These dirty things of the fruity work and empiric philosophy can be removed only by association with the Supreme Lord. Yeah. So only Supreme Lord's association in the form of his name, form, qualities, pastimes, and hearing, that only has the efficacy to purify the heart. All other things only may at best some pacification, just like a muddy pool. If you just make it settle, if you allow the pool to settle down, the mud will settle down at the bottom. But again, when the desires comes, then agitation will happen, desires will come out. We'll see the examples of Strawberry Muni, etc. So the moment you have some objects of sense gratification, then desires may come up. So, but it has to be purified more and more. So we need to keep the dharana object as a spiritual form, spiritual object. Maharaj Parikshit was already directly connected with the personal feature of Lord Krishna, and as such he had no need to inquire from Sukadeva Goswami about where and how to apply the mind in the personal Virat Rupa of the Lord. So he doesn't need, but he inquired after detailed description of the matter for the benefit of others who are unable to conceive of the transcendental feature of the Lord as the form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Yeah, he inquired just to establish bhakti and also for the sake of others to know the glory of bhakti. Please read this one.
So, for the benefit of men who are unable to accept the Lord in his personal eternal form, Maharaj Parikshit inquired from Sukdev Goswami how to fix the mind on him in the beginning, and the Goswami replied in the detail as follows.
Yeah, please read.
Sukdev Goswami answered, one should control the sitting posture, regulate the breathing process by the yogi pranayam, and thus control the mind and senses, and with intelligence apply the mind to the gross potencies of the Lord called the Virat Rupa.
The gross potency is called Virat Rupa. So the question is how to come to dharana stage is answered. So how to come? We have to follow all the yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahar. All this when we follow, we will come to dharana stage. Till that he cannot focus on mind. He cannot focus the mind on a particular object. He has to do all those things. Then he will come to dharana stage. In dharana stage, he has to apply on Virat Rupa, gross potencies of the Lord. So that's what mentioned. Please read this one.
The materially absorbed mind of the conditioned soul does not allow him to transcend the limit of the bodily perception of self, and thus the yoga system for meditation, controlling the sitting posture and breathing process and fixing the mind upon the Supreme, is prescribed in order to mold the character of the gross materialist.
Yeah. Fixing the mind on the Supreme is prescribed not to mold the character of the gross materialist. So the moment we come in touch with the purifying object, because Krishna is all pure, Krishna is all pure, he will not be contaminated by our contamination. Just like Prabhupada gives sun example. Sun is there, sun will not be contaminated by anywhere it is. I mean, those sunshine falls on dirty places like urine and stool. It also can purify everything. Those dirty things cannot contaminate the sun. So similarly, Krishna is all pure. So by coming in touch with all pure personality, we will become purified. So that's the main understanding. Even a holy name also. So the more we keep the mind in connection with the holy name, then only purification starts happening. Definitely, it's a quite challenging and quite strenuous process that Prabhupada mentioned yesterday. Strenuously, one is trying to Shravanam and Kirtanam, the Kirtana especially chanting holy names. Unless we bring the mind and the holy name together, it's quite difficult to purify the mind. So that's our main task when we are chanting, to keep the mind hearing the holy name. That's the mention. So as soon as the potencies are understood to be instrumental manifestations of the transcendence, one automatically advances to the next step, and gradually the stage of full realization becomes possible for him. That purification happens. Please read.
The gigantic manifestation of the phenomenal material world as a whole is the personal body of the absolute truth, wherein the universal resultant past, present and future of material time is experienced.
So Dharana for an advanced attached neophyte yogi. So the gigantic manifestation of the phenomenal world. It is like it's an imagination of the yogi. It's not personal form of the Lord, but he imagines that these are the feet, these are the. We will discuss in the coming verses. But he imagines different limbs as the different forms of this universe. That's how he meditates on the universal form. Yeah. Anything, either material or spiritual, is but an expansion of energy of the Supreme Lord. So that's how he becomes purified. The omnipotent Lord has his transcendental eyes, heads, and other bodily parts distributed everywhere. He can see, hear, touch, or manifest himself anywhere and everywhere. For he is present everywhere as a super soul of all infinitesimal souls. although he has his particular abode in his absolute world. Yeah, as the Supreme Lord is there in the spiritual world, but still he manifests in this world by his energies. This Virat Rupa is explained more by Prabhupada, how it is, if everything is expression of Lord, why everyone is unable to see? Because everything is energy of the Lord. Everything is manifestation of the Lord, but still we are covered by Maya Javanikachannam Magyadokshasamavyayam. Kunti Maharani says, you are covered, dear Lord, by a curtain of Maya. So we can't see, though he is manifesting himself. That curtain has to be removed, not by ourselves. We cannot remove on our own. But Krishna will remove by seeing our service attitude. That's what Prabhupada mentions. That's what previously also, by the devotional attitude, everything will be revealed. So that's the main understanding Prabhupada gives here. And who can't see the Lord? Because Asuras can't see because they have perverted intelligence. They want to always exploit the Lord. They cannot see the presence of the Lord. So that's what he mentions here. Please read this highlight version.
This Virat Rupa of the Lord was especially manifested not for the benefit of Arjuna, but for that unintelligent class of men who accept anyone and everyone as an incarnation of the Lord, and so mislead the general mass of people.
So here Virat Rupa of Bhagavad Gita, and here mentioned the Virat Rupa will come, Vishwarupa. So that is Prabhupada explaining here, comparing with that in Bhagavad Gita. It's for but for the unintelligent class of men who accept anyone and everyone as incarnation, for them Krishna showed that Virat Rupa. Many times Prabhupada mentions those who want to proclaim themselves as God, they have to show Vishwarupa. And by that we will see who is the real Lord. That's what he says. Yeah, please read the translation. Next devotee.
The gigantic universal form of the personality of Godhead within the body of universal self, which is Hare Krishna, may I audible?
Yeah, please.
Okay, the gigantic universal form of personality of Godhead within the body of universal shell, which is covered by sevenfold material elements, is the subject for the Virat conception.
Yeah. So now it's coming the Virat Purusha, Dharanashraya for an attached yogi, neophyte yogi, who has the contamination in the heart. So there was some explaining. Vairaja Purusha means Virat Purusha. The gigantic, Vairaja means the gigantic universal form of the Lord. So this is the main understanding. Vairaja Purusha, Virat Purusha, there are different names. Universal form. So Bhagavan Dharanashraya. So that form of the Lord is the Dharanashraya for an attached or for a neophyte yogi. That has to be start with. He has to start with that Dharanashraya. Yeah, Prabhupada explains different forms of the Supreme Lord, because the form of Supreme Lord as a Virat Purusha is explained. So Prabhupada explains how there are so many forms in the spiritual world, spiritual forms of Lord in Vaikuntha. There are so many forms of the Lord, expansion of the Lord, and then material forms that are manifested in this world are explained by Prabhupada, quoting from Bhagavad Gita only. And then purpose of Virat Purusha. Can you please read this one?
One can just imagine how ignorant is the poor foolish materialist who, simply on allegations of dying men, puts forward an insignificant creature to become the Lord's rival incarnation. The Virat Rupa was particularly exhibited by the Lord just to give lessons to such foolish men, so that They can accept a person as an incarnation of Godhead only if the person is able to exhibit such Virat Roop as Lord Krishna did.
Yeah. Please read to that.
The materialistic person may concentrate his mind upon the Virat or gigantic form of the Lord in his own interest, and as recommended by Shukadev Goswami, but he must be on his guard not to be misled by pretenders who claim to be. एक minute, Prabhuji. Is this same in continuation? Lord Krishna claim to be Lord Krishna, but are not able to act like him or exhibit the Virat Roop, comprehending the whole of the universe.
Yeah. So Prabhupada explains why Lord Krishna exhibits this one and what is the purpose. Materialistic person may concentrate his mind upon Virat in his own interest. So it must be on his guard not to be misled by pretenders who claim to be Lord Krishna, but are not able to act like him or exhibit like Virat Rupa. So it's for two reasons. One, for the benefit of those people who want to meditate, and for those challenging people that they are claiming themselves as Krishna. That's the main thing. Text 26. Yeah. Next devotee can read translation.
Translation. Persons who have realized it have studied that planets known as Patala constitute the bottoms of the feet of the universal Lord, and the heels and the toes of the Rasatala planets. The ankles are the Mahatala planets, and his shanks constitute the Talatala planets.
Yeah. So now, starting from this verse, how all the planets 26, 27, 28 explains all the planetary systems as the limbs of the Virat Purusha. Now they will explain the planets as the parts of the Lord that they are supposed to meditate on. And later on, from 29 to till almost end of the chapter, the different limbs also are compared to different parts of the different universal manifestations. We will see that one. But in this verse, the Patala, stated Patala as constitute the bottom of the feet of the Lord, universal Lord. This is just imagination. It's not exactly what is a form, but he has to imagine like that. He's imagining like that. That is the imagination of the neophyte yogi. That's how by connecting with the Lord, he will be purified. It's a manifestation. So the heels and toes are Rasatala, ankles are Mahatal, and shanks are Talatal planets. Bottom 7 planets and upper 7 planets. Of course, Prabhupada explains more in detail understanding of the universal form, and it's how we can connect to it. How people same theme he continues, that how Krishna manifests this one to challenge the people who claims themselves as the Lord. But yeah, conception of universal form is an opportunity, but consciousness needed to meditate on Virat Rupa to get the result. So the conception of universal form is an opportunity for neophyte yogi, but the consciousness that it is in relation to the Lord, that makes purification. Chance. That's why Prabhupada says he must cultivate service attitude. The more he is in connection with the Lord, then it will be more and more purifying him. Please read this yellow portion.
Unless the service attitude is revived, the conception of Virat realizations will have very little effect on the seer.
Yeah, down.
In this verse, the description begins from the bottom because it is in the line of devotion that the Lord's bodily description should begin from his feet. Sukadeva Goswami is a recognized devotee of the Lord, and he is exactly correct in the description.
Yeah, this is also one very devotional point Prabhupada brings out, and Acharyas brings out, that Sukadeva Goswami starting from the feet, right? You might have observed in the translation that he started with Patala as the bottoms of the feet of the Universal Lord. So even in our meditation or darshan, when we come to darshan of the Lord, the first thing we need to focus on the lotus feet of the Acharya, spiritual master, then Prabhupada, and then the Lordships. From feet we take darshan to the topmost part. From feet to the upper parts and upper. That's how the general etiquette of taking darshan. Prabhupada also many times explains in somewhere in first canto also, but one should not dare to see the face of the Lord directly. Yeah, that's how it's explained. Even our 12 cantos are also explained in terms of different bodily limbs of the Lord. Lotus feet are considered like first and second canto are considered like a lotus feet. And somewhere in one of the purport only in first canto, Prabhupada explains this understanding, how 12 cantos are different parts of the Lord. And Prabhupada explains the 10th canto is considered like a beautiful face of the Lord. So one should constantly meditate on the lotus feet, meaning that we should understand first and second cantos, the greatness of the Lord. First and second cantos explain the greatness in the sense that universal creation, Virat Purusha, these are all greatness of the Lord. Before coming to the sweetness of the Lord, we need to understand and be convinced about the greatness of the Lord. That helps in not misunderstanding the sweetness of the Lord, because they appear to be very ordinary, and sometimes it may be bewildering also, especially Krishna's pastimes, the sweet pastimes of Krishna. So to avoid those confusions, we need to. Prabhupada mentions there that we need to meditate on the lotus feet, in the sense that first and second cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. So that service attitude has to be revived. And then only it will have effect on the seer. Yes. Text 27.
The needs universal form are the planetary system of the name Sutala, and the two thighs are the Vitala and the Atala planetary system. The hips are the Mahitala, and outer space is a depressions of his navel.
Yeah. So bottom planets are Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatal, Rasatal, Patal. The down planets, these are 7. And from there, again, Mahitala is the earth, is a bottom 7 are there, and up 7 starts with earth. Earth is the middle planetary system, Martyaloka, Mahitala. Then upper planets goes from Bhovar Loka, Bhuloka, Bhovar, Bhur, Bhuva, Swaha. That's how it explains one of the mantras. Bhuloka means Bhuloka is earthly planet. Bhovar means it's a middle between outer space. Swarga is different. It will come in the next verses. So these are all compared to the hips, knees, and the other parts of the universal form. Yeah. Please read. Next devotee. Hare Krishna.
The
The
chest
chest of the original personality of the gigantic form is the luminary planetary system. His neck is the Mahar plants, his mouth is the Janas plants, and his forehead is the Tapas planetary system. The topmost planetary system, known as Satyaloka, is the head of him who has 1,000 heads.
So in Satyaloka, Lord resides as the Sahasra Sisha Purita Sahasraksha Sahasrapat, 1,000 heads, 1,000 arms. That's how the Brahma worships in this form in Satyaloka, the Lord. So that's how is mentioned as 1,000 heads. Yeah. Next Timothy.
His arms are the demigods headed by Indra, the 10 directional sights are his ears, and physical sound is his sense of hearing. His nostrils are the 2 Ashwini Kumaras, and material fragrance is his sense of smell. His mouth is the blazing fire.
Please read.
The description of the gigantic form of the personality of Godhead made in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is further explained here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The description in the Bhagavad Gita 11.30 runs as follows. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays. In that way, Srimad Bhagavatam is the postgraduate study for the student of the Bhagavad Gita. Both of them are the signs of Krishna, the absolute truth, and so they are interdependent.
So from this verse onwards, almost the end, he explains different limbs. Now different planets are compared to different limbs. Till 26, 27, 28. All the 14 planetary systems are explained in terms of the limbs of the Lord, from the feet till head of the Lord. Right? Now different limbs are compared to different universal departments or universal manifestations. Now here like arms are compared to other demigods headed by Indra. 10 directions are his ears. Physical sound are like hearing. So different limbs are compared to different manifestations. His mouth is like a blazing fire. So that's how, of course, Prabhupada explains in connection with Bhagavad Gita, how his Lord is manifesting in this form. So we need to develop a reverential attitude. And when we see it's a manifestation of Lord, then we can be more and more purified. And even in Gita also, many times in 10th chapter, the opulences of Lord is explained. How we can remember the Lord by seeing the universe. The taste of water. Rasoham skaunteya prabhasmi shashichuryo pranavah sarva vedeshu shabdha ke paurusham rushu. So all these so many opulences of the Lord are explained. So this is all Arjuna asked that how can I remember you? Though I am staying in this material world, but how can I meditate on you, remember you? So Krishna explains many aspects of the universe. So as a devotees, we can definitely try to meditate on the manifestation of Krishna in these forms. Though of course, that kind of yogic meditation is also coming similar to this aspect of the devotees' understanding, but we see it's Krishna's manifestation. Because as we read from Gita and we understand from our scriptures, and Ashtanga Yogi is also trying to connect what he is seeing is a part of the Lord. That's how he is also trying to become purified in his mind. And the same thing we can also think of the Lord. It's an opportunity for us also to meditate on the special mercy of the Lord in manifestations. Yeah. Text 30. Please read. Krishna.
The sphere of outer space constitutes his eyeballs and the sun in his power of seeing. His eyelids are both the day and the night, and in the movements of his eyebrows, Brahma and similar supreme personalities reside. His palate is Varuna, the director of water, and the juice or essence of everything is his tongue.
So now here are different limbs. The outer space constitutes eyeballs. The sun is power of seeing. So all these things are he's meditating on different limbs, and then he's purifying himself on the Ashtanga Yogi. Text 31.
They say that the Vedic hymns are the cerebral passage of the Lord, and his jaws of teeth are Yama, god of death, who punishes the sinners. The art of perfection in his set of teeth, and the most adoring illusory material energy is his smile. This great ocean of material creation is but the casting of his glance over us.
So here Prabhupada writes about Please read the next devotee can read other thing, the highlighted portion. Purport.
Sandeep,
According to the Vedic assertion, this material creation is the result of the Lord's casting a glance over the material energy, which is described herein as the most alluring illusory energy. The conditioned soul, allured by such materialism, should know that the temporary material creation is simply an imitation of the reality, and that those who are captivated by such alluring glances of the Lord are put under the direction of the controller of sinners called Yam Raja. The Lord smiles affectionately, displaying his teeth. The intelligent person who can grasp these truths about the Lord becomes a soul fully surrendered unto him.
So Prabhupada gives more of a devotional understanding, devotional meditation. That's the great ocean of material creation is but casting of his glance. So Krishna's glance or Vishnu's glance, his auras is this meditation. That is material creation itself is glance. Yeah, we understand from third canto also. Just by his glance, he impregnated the whole Mahatattva, manifested. His creation starts. Sarga and Visarga. Visarga is like a Brahma's creation within a Brahmanda. It's called Visarga, secondary creation. But the first creation, Sarga, is happens by Lord's glancing on metal energy, Mahatattva. Metal energy. Exactly, its technical term is a metal energy. Mahatattva later on it forms from metal energy. But yeah, by his glance only everything happens. The starting of creation. So yeah, from our personal application in the sense that by seeing the world, by seeing the different manifestations, we can remember, as Prabhupada mentions here, about smile of the Lord. The Lord smiles affectionately, displaying his teeth. The intelligent person who can grasp these truths about the Lord becomes a soul fully surrendered unto him. Because the smile of the Lord is the illusory energy, alluring. So whatever is captivating our hearts, in the sense that it is not allowing us to remember the Lord. Captivating means that it's not, it's in terms of our own selfish enjoyment. We are trying to think anything that we see or anything that is alluring us, captivating us. Any new brand car, any big apartment, any new laptop or new mobile, or any new book that is coming even on spiritual subjects. For everyone, it has their own captivating objects. Just like different senses have different objects. So similarly, everyone has different objects which captivate us in the sense that they make us feel that I am the enjoyer, I am the proprietor, I am the controller. The feelings of these things come in, then it's called a captivating object. That should not happen. By understanding that these are all manifestations of Krishna, the illusion. When we try to see in connection with Krishna, then we can be free from all these concomitant tendencies. When we can see the connection, let us see. I'll just show maybe Gita's verse. It's a beautiful. Krishna reveals beautiful understanding in Gita 4th chapter. When we can see the connection between the Lord. It's a 4th chapter. He explains Tadviti Pranipatena. So when he explains this verse, so what should be the result? Tadviti Pranipatena Pariprashana Sevaya Upadikshanti Te Jnanam Jnaninastattva Darshana. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. So once you approach the spiritual master, he reveals the knowledge. So then, what is the symptom of one who is gaining the knowledge? Is spoken in the next verse. Yajnatva na punarmoham evam yashasi pandava yena bhutyan sheshani drakshasyatmanyatho mayi. Please read. Translation.
Having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never, you will.
Your voice is very faint and.
Approach actually traveling, having obtained real knowledge from a self-realized soul, you will never fall again into such illusion. For by this knowledge, you will see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, or in other words, they are mine, or in other words, they are mine.
Yeah, thank you. So this should be the symptom of gaining knowledge from a spiritual master. For by this knowledge means that the more we are actually receiving knowledge from a spiritual master or from our readings or hearings, the more we are trying to understand knowledge means, it should happen that we will see, I will see, you should see, everyone should see that all living beings are but part of the Supreme, in connection with Supreme. That connection has to be seen. In other words, they are mine. So that connection will be revealed as we are receiving knowledge. So that's what Prabhupada mentions in the Prabhupada. The result of receiving knowledge from a self-realized soul, or one who knows things as they are, is learning that all living beings are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. The sense of separate and existence separate from Krishna is called Maya. Yeah. So this is the main symptom of one is actually advancing in spiritual knowledge. So that's how we need to see in connection with Krishna. The more we can see in connection with Krishna, we will not be allured by captivating objects. Otherwise, those who are captivated by such alluring glances of the Lord are put under direction of the controller of sinners, called Yamaraj. We are captivated by different objects, then it's a concomitant factors will happen later on. We'll be dragged down to many other activities which are unhealthy for spiritual life. Yes, by having those feelings of I'm the controller, I'm the enjoyer, I'm the proprietor. So then these will come slowly will drag us down. So by how to avoid, by having a connection with to see the connection between the universe and the Lord is the main thing. That we can see as we have seen from the two verses from Bhagavad Gita. Tadviti pranipatena. That is the cause, and the effect will be the 35th verse. We will see everything in connection with Krishna. If the second is not happening, means the first is not happening. The cause is somewhere there is a either lack of understanding or lack of application in the first verse, in 34th verse, the cause. If the effect is not seen, means we need to rectify the cause. Text 32. Please read.
Modesty is the upper portion of his lips, hankering is his chin, religion is the breast of the Lord, and irreligion is his back. Brahmaji, who generates all living beings in the material world, is his genitals, and the Mitra Varunas are his two testicles. The ocean is his waist, and the hills and mountains are the stacks of his bones.
Yeah, please read this one.
The Supreme Lord is not impersonal, misconceived by less intelligent thinkers. Rather, he is the Supreme Person as confirmed in all authentic Vedic literatures. But his personality is different from what we can conceive.
Yeah.
It
bottom
is
okay.
when the Lord is described as impersonal, therefore it should be understood that his personality is not exactly the type of personality found within our imperfect speculation. One can, however, worship the Lord even by seeing the hills and mountains or the ocean and the sky as different parts and parcels of the gigantic body of the Lord. The Vedic, the Virat Purush, the Virat Roop, as exhibited by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, is a challenge to the to the unbelievers.
Yeah, because Prabhupada always brings out the challenging personalists who claims themselves a Lord. As a Virat Rupa is a challenge for them, the unbelievers. Text 33. Next devotee.
O king, the rivers are the veins of the gigantic body, the trees are the hairs of his body, and the omnipotent air is his breath. The passing age are his movements, and his activities are the reactions of the three modes of material nature. The
Yeah.
personality of Godhead is not a dead stone, nor is he is inactive as is poorly thought by some schools. He moves with the progress of time, and therefore he knows all about the past and future along with his present activities. There is nothing unknown to him.
Yeah. So here more different limbs are compared to different parts. The rivers are veins of the gigantic body. Trees are the hairs of the body, his universal body. And passing ages are his movements. His activities are reactions of the modes of material nature. Okay. Even by the studying the rivers, trees, air, and passing ages, one can conceive the personality of God without being misled by formless conception of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that those who are much inclined to the formless conception of the Lord Supreme Truth are more troubled than those who intelligently conceive the personal form. Text 34.
O best amongst the Kurus, the clouds which carry water are the hairs on his head. The terminations of days or nights are his dress, and the supreme cause of material creation is his intelligence. His mind is the moon, the reservoir of all changes.
So further understandings are, we can meditate on different things by seeing the universal objects. Yeah. Next.
The principle of matter, Mahatattva, is the consciousness of the omnipresent Lord, as asserted by the experts, and Ruddradeva is his ego. The horse, mule, camel, and elephant are his nails, and wild animals and all quadrupeds are situated in the built zone of the Lord.
They're all, especially the matter Mahatattva is the consciousness of the omnipresent Lord. Because Mahatattva is the initial one, principal matter. That's all is considered consciousness of the omnipotent Lord. Because from there everything happens. From Mahatattva, everything comes out. So the consciousness from from consciousness only everything happens. The attitudes that we have from our consciousness, that's how everything starts with. Whatever activities, whatever desires that we have, it starts with our consciousness. What is our attitudes, our behaviors, especially the attitudes. Consciousness means that, especially in terms of attitudes, what kind of attitudes that we have. We are trying to. Actually, the consciousness is supposed to be Krishna consciousness, but in the conditioned stage, it is contaminated consciousness we have. Just like Prabhupada gives example of contaminated water. When rain water is pure, but when rain drops fall on the earth, mud, then it becomes contaminated. So similarly, we are the consciousness is contaminated by various identities. So that's why Cheto Darpana Marjanam. That the consciousness has to be purified, because from there only everything manifests. So that has to be purified. And Rudradev is his ego identity, main identity. All other major animals is compared to his belt zone, lying on the belt zone of the Lord. Yeah. Please read next devotee.
Varieties of birds are indications of his masterful artistic sense. Manu, the father of mankind, is the emblem of his standard intelligence, and humanity is his residence. The celestial species of human beings like the Gandharvas, Vidyadharas, Karanas, and angels all represents his musical rhythm, and the demoniac soldiers are representation of his wonderful power, prowess.
Yeah. So Prabhupada writes a beautiful purport. Please read this one. Hare Krishna.
The aesthetic sense of Lord is manifested in the artistic, colorful creation of varieties of birds like the peacock, parrots, and cuckoos. The celestial species of human being like the Gandharvas and Vidyadharas can sing wonderfully and can entice even the minds of heavenly demigods. Their musical rhythm represents the musical sense of the Lord. How then can he be impersonal? His musical taste, artistic sense, and standard intelligence, which is never fallible, are different signs of his supreme personality.
Yeah, so here Prabhupada establishing from the different aspects of his personality, personal manifestations of the Lord in the aesthetic sense or the musical sense. So these are all just manifestations of the Lord. That's what Prabhupada establishing. These are his different signs of his supreme personality. Because nothing can, if something is manifesting, it cannot come from nothing. Prabhupada always says that if something is manifesting, so something has to come from something only, right? Something will not come from nothing. That's what the major scientific theory says, that there was a blast, there was nothing initially, but there was a blast and everything manifested. So here that if there is a musical sense is present in the Gandharvas, and aesthetic sense is in the peacocks and parrots and cuckoos, we are seeing so wonderful. We are also mesmerized many times, right, by seeing these beautiful birds, beautiful singing of the birds, or beautiful music. Everyone is charmed by these things. Actually, when we try to connect with these to the Lord's manifestation, then we are more purified. And definitely, they are very appealing to the mind, even for a ordinary person. But they are the manifestations of the Lord, because here manifestation means there is the source, right? There is some manifestation here in this material world, means there should be some source. That's what Prabhupada logic. That's what Prabhupada establishes here. Yeah, please read this one, last para.
Each and everyone has a particular duty in relation to the supreme body. Disruption in the matter of discharging the specific duty assigned to each and every living being is the cause of disharmony between one living being and another. But when the relation is established in relation with the Supreme Lord, there is complete unity between all living beings, even up to the limit of the wild animals and human society. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed this living unity in the jungle of Madhya Pradesh, where even the tiger, elephants, and many other ferocious animals perfectly cooperated in glorifying the Supreme Lord. That is the way to peace and amity all over the world.
Yeah. So here Prabhupada establishing that there is a relation between everyone and everything in relation to the Supreme Lord also. But there is no disharmony. So, but each and everyone, just like he's saying, each and everyone has a particular duty in relation to the Supreme Body. So the more we disrupt the relationship that we have, the original relationship, the servant relationship that we have with the Lord, the more we come out of that happy and very blissful situation. That was established by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as it's saying that because that relationship is established even with tigers, elephants, and many other ferocious animals. So when the relationship is established, then everything will be in blissful condition. So that's what is. So the relationship between the universe and the Lord has to be established. When we are in complete knowledge, and we are trying to become more and more purified, we will try to establish that relation between us and Krishna and between everything and Krishna. So that's the Prabhupada explanation. Yeah, please read. Thanks, devotee.
The Virat Purusha's face is the Brahmanas, his arms are the Kshatriyas, his thighs are the Vaishyas, and the Shudras are the under protection of his feet. All the worshipable demigods are also overtaken by him, and it is the duty of everyone to perform sacrifices with the visible goods to appease the Lord.
So here again, till now the different manifestations of universe are explained in different limbs. So this is the main one more understanding of Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas and Sudras that we generally describe. His face is the Brahmanas, his arms is the Kshatriyas, and thighs are Vaishyas, and the feet are considered Shudras. So, but we are all on the body of the Lord. They are supposed to cooperate with each other. That's the main understanding of Prabhupada also he gives in the purport that they have to cooperate together. Sorry, I think my laptop, I think is being saving the document, maybe 2 minutes. So that's how the whole description of Virat Purusha is described in these verses. Till 37 we read now, and 38 and 39. Sukadeva Goswami concludes, thus I have described the Virat Purusha, the bona fide dharanashraya for neophyte attached yogi, neophyte or attached yogi, desiring liberation. Meditating on any other form will cause him degradation. So one should meditate on Virat Purusha. If he meditating on any other form, then he will not be purified. That's what it will be concluded by Sukadeva Goswami in the next 2 verses. So what we can learn from all these purports, that one example I heard, maybe with this we'll conclude this chapter as well. Just like a baby when he's small with his mother, and then when he's 6 months old, he or she, when the baby is 6 or 7 months old or 1 year old, baby doesn't understand that mother is feeding me. I mean, definitely baby feels that one. Baby understands that who is his mother, who is not his mother by his sense of touch. But till now he doesn't have intelligence that he's feeding me, she's protecting me, or she's caring for me. That kind of intelligence is not yet developed. Even till 4 or 5, 6 years, the sense is there. She is my protector, she is my caring and everything, loving and all. But the baby doesn't understand. She's putting me sweater in the winter season. She's fanning me in the summer season. She's keeping me in AC or whatever in the summers or in the hot season. So the baby doesn't understand because baby has not developed that intelligence. But when we grow, when the baby grows, then as he grows up to 6, 7, 8, 10 years, then he understands, hey, mother is providing, father is providing everything for me. He is bringing me everything for the house, and mother is cooking everything. She is feeding me. She is keeping me hot water for bathing. She is providing me hot blankets or sweaters, everything. So as the one is becoming matured more and more, he understands the loving nature of father and mother. So similarly in this world also, Krishna as a supreme father, Aham Bija Pradapita, he is the mother, he is the father, as he mentions in Gita directly. Pita Mahasya Jagato Mata Dhata. So he is providing everything, but unmatured, less intelligent people always decry the presence of the Lord, because Krishna is providing us heat to protect us from the cold, and various things for our maintenance, as he mentions in Gita himself. So the more intelligent person understands that the son of, as he mentions that Prabhasmi Shuryo, I am the sunlight, I am the moonlight. From sunlight he is giving us protection by having a ozone layer from all kinds of destructive radioactive waves. He is giving us protection by having a proper atmosphere with oxygen and with all kinds of nourishing elements from the earth, in food, everything, everywhere. That's how we can connect also to the loving nature of the father and mother of the universe, Krishna. Just like a baby can understand as he becomes mature, as a good baby, as a mature baby can understand, will understand, and show gratitude to father and mother. Similarly, we also need to learn and become mature and become more intelligent. So we will just read 39, 38 and 39 and we'll conclude. Please read the translation. Hare Krishna.
I have thus explained to you the gross material gigantic conception of personality of Godhead. One who seriously desires liberation concentrates his mind on this form of the Lord, because there is nothing more than this in the material world.
Yeah, there is nothing more in this world. Yeah, Prabhupada elaborately explains that one. Yeah.
One should concentrate his mind upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who alone distribute himself in so many manifestations. Just as ordinary person create thousands of manifestation in dreams, one must concentrate the mind on him, the only all blissful absolute truth. Otherwise, one will be misled and will cause his own degradation.
Yeah. So as we mentioned that we need to keep on meditating on different aspects of the Lord. So don't divert our attention, but direct the attention to the Supreme Lord. As what Devaswami is saying. The process of devotional service is indicated by the great Goswami. So the Goswami tries to impress upon us that instead of diverting our attention to several branches of self-realization, we should concentrate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the supreme object of realization, worship, and devotion. So, yeah, so we should not be degrade ourselves. If you are not determined to focus, then we will be degraded. Prabhupada saying that one should not focus on any other things which may be alluring us to degrade us in this universe. So that we need to avoid by understanding the real tattva, by understanding that this is the creation of the Lord, this is having connection with the Lord. So the conclusion is that one should unhesitatingly become a worshipper of Lord Krishna, or for that matter, his plenary expansion Narayana, and none else. So that's the conclusion of. So he's giving an example also. The example given in this verse very nicely is that of the dreaming man. The dreaming man creates many things in his dream, as he himself becomes an entangled seed of the dream and is also affected by the consequences. He being the supreme, he being the transcendental super soul, is neither entangled nor affected by the reactions of such a dream-like creation. He will not be affected. Krishna will not be affected. But we are affected if we are trying to identify with the dream of this material world. So Prabhupada concludes. So the human life, however, is an opportunity to get out of this repetition of creation and annihilation. It is a means whereby one may escape the Lord's external potency and enter into his internal potency. Prabhupada always brings out the essence, the opportunity that we have in this human life to connect with the Lord at various levels. Topmost level that we are trying to read here in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and also in a practical platform where when we come in contact with the material energy, the more we connect with the Supreme Lord, then the more we are not only be purified, but we can relish the presence of the Lord. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of second canto, first chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled the first step in God realization. So the first step is that an attached yogi has to meditate on the gross form of the universe. So that's the main thing. Okay, thank you. So we pause here for today. Manish bro, you have any announcements?
One announcement I had posted that like next Sunday we will not have any class. Prabhuji, regarding Saturday, you will give confirmation. Anything you have not checked with Prabhuji?
Okay, sure, no problem. Sure.
Saturday also we might not have class. We will just update you. But Sunday for sure there is no class because there is Vyas Puja celebration in GEV. So many devotees are going there.
Thank you. Sure. Okay. So we pause here. Randraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.